Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another review for Halloween month. And this time, reviewing a film from which I would say it doesn't get talked about much though, but it's directed by a guy from a director who's no longer with us, sadly, and then it's from director Tobe Hooper. Of course, Tobe Hooper, the director of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is an all-time classic. So, looking at one of his movies, and it was one of his movies I wanted to review for some time though, but never got around to it. So for this review, I'm going to be reviewing of the Funhouse. Now, the Funhouse was released in 1981, directed by Tobe Hooper. And this is a film probably that my dad saw back in the day, considering, my dad isn't big on watching horror films like these. But he did manage to see this film back in the day of 1981. And he liked it, surprisingly. The film, this was the first major studio film that Tobe Hooper worked on, released by Universal. The film only didn't make that much money. It made about like $7 million when it came out. But it did get some positive reviews. It has like a 67% Rotten Tomatoes. And not only Tobe Hooper had a hand in this, but there was quite a few people that recognized in this. But one of the executive producers of this film is Mark Lester, or Mark L. Lester. He's the executive producer for this film, but this guy will later on go on to direct Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, really enough. And also, on special makeup effects, you have Rick Baker, who had a hand on makeup effects in this film as well. And as for the cast, I thought was decent. So most of these cast members didn't go on to do much though. Especially our four main characters in this film. But the Funhouse I liked. Now. Referring to this thing, like you see on one of the posters, this film here, this thing out of the Jackbox. You don't see this thing in this film, so I don't know why they put that on. Probably just for the sake of it. Or for there's also one of the original posters. It's like a parody of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, as well. But the Funhouse I did like though. It's surprising enough, it's more of a. It is like a slasher film in a little bit of a way though, and it's not gory. So this film is not gory at all. It's like a tame slash film because you see with our characters. So it's like a tame a little bit of a tame slash film. So because I remember very differently when I saw this when I was little. Because I remember one memory when I watched this film was like on TV or something, and I used to think that it was the mechanical things that are in the Funhouse that used to come alive. I thought it was something like that though, but it's actually watching it nowadays, it's actually been one person, well, two people actually, but dropped it again. But back when I was a kid, I used to think it was the mechanical things in the Funhouse that used to come alive. That's what I thought back when I was a kid. But so that's not the case though. And for the set designs of the Funhouse, I thought was well done, as well. And as for the story we have our four characters. Where our lead, played by the character named Amy, played by Elizabeth Berridge. I thought she did a decent job as well. She's on this first day with this guy named Buzz, played by Cooper Huckabee, and bring two other people, another couple along with them, Liz, played by Largo, Woodruff, and then Richie, played by Miles Chapin. And how it opens up with the mechanical things you see in the Funhouse. I thought it was it does a slideshow of each thing from the Funhouse. That was nice. And it opens up with the POV shot of John Carpenter's Halloween, which that was a nod to that. John Carpenter's Halloween, how the POV gets a knife, gets the clown mask. But it's actually that's not the case because it's actually a younger brother scaring her older sister in the shower, which is also a nod to Psycho as well. you know, in the shower. Ding, 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 ding. But, and then the sister gets pissed and tells her, you know, this, you just wait, I'm going to get you back so bad. Yells at him for that. And the parents, they're watching Bride of Frankenstein because, well, this is Universal, so you see like some of those things of the Universal monsters like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and of course Bride of Frankenstein as well, because it's Universal. But so she goes out with the guy named Buzz, and then the other couple. They go to the carnival, walking around some stuff, and like they see this little freak show. Like you see, like this cow like has sort of like no nose. It is like real cows like have like real like one has like no nose, and the other one has like a sort of like another like a second head. Watch it again. Kind of give like a little creepy look to it because you know when we see like a cow with no nose and another one like with a second sort of like a second head, you know. And then they go to this magician to see watch this magician. The magician is played by William Finley, which I remember this guy. He was in the year after this. He was going to be in Silent Rage with Chuck Norris. He was one of the scientists that the guy John Kirby puts a needle in his neck. That guy, William Finley. I remember that's what I remember seeing him from. Like he does like this. He's a magician. Like gets this girl in a coffin, pretends like it's actually stabbing through, but it's actually his daughter. Was all part of an act. And then they go see the fortune teller, Madame Xena, played by Sylvia Miles. And does like a fortune. She's trying to do a fortune thing with our lead girl, Elizabeth Berridge. But the other guys, the other sort of like messing around, and then the woman gets pissed, like, you get here or I'll break every fucking bone in your body. and they get this whole thing, even the little brother, he sneaks out to go to the carnival as well. And which I'll get to that the little brother in a second, but and then they all plan to stay the night inside the Funhouse. Wait till everybody's gone, and they see well at least another they see like they're above in the ceiling, you know, and they looking down, they see like the fortune teller with this guy wearing a Frankenstein mask, you know, like paying her, you know, do, you know, sexual things basically. And but the woman says, after that she says no, and then the guy gets pissed and then strangles her. And then there's then the guy who's like the father to this guy, played by Kevin Conway, which I think I recall seeing him in some other stuff though. Which actually enough, this Kevin Conway actually passed away earlier this year in February. Really enough, yeah. And, like he has like 3 different roles. We see him as a freak show person, the guy at the strip show, and then he's the guy at the Funhouse. And he yells at the guys like, "Oh, we're family. You don't do that. You do the locals, but not with the other people." Because evidently they've done this with other people when their carnivals were at other places, like with some years in between, some years before this. So, but they get pissed, and actually the person wearing the Frankenstein mask is actually a monster, a creepy monster-looking guy who's like has red eyes and fangs and all that. I was like, ooh. So it was like it's like a monster wearing a monster hiding behind a monster mask. Really enough, I thought I was like, okay, a monster hiding within a monster mask. They kind of like that, and it was really good makeup effects by Rick Baker. I thought he did a good job with the makeup effects on this on this deformed monster looking thing, and then actually actually, one of the guys, Richie, he took the money from the box the money they had, and of course he stupidly enough, you know, drops his cigarette lighter, and the guy Kevin Conway gets it. It's like, oh, we got visitors, so they're gonna go after them. And the film, it's on for about, it's only an hour and 36 minutes, but things don't start happening right away. it's mostly a slow burn film, which most of the stuff starts happening like in the towards the third act of the movie. So it's more of a slow burn movie. It's like not they get killed start getting killed right away. It's more of a slow burn. It starts happening, startling more towards the third act, and it's not a gory movie at all because the first guy to go was the guy Richie. He gets hung, and to really have him when the as for the main he gets hung, and as for the main thing as they see one of the the things that you ride on in the carnival coming towards them, think it's one of the bad guys, and the character Buzz, he has like an axe and hits the thing, but he actually hit the head of the dead corpse of the character Richie really enough, and it's like, oh, okay, sitting on the ride. And then the other girl, Liz, wants a Richie, but he's dead though, but she won't listen. She goes and falls through a trap door, and she's right next to this big fan, which the monster comes in, and which I haven't seen this film in a while, but I thought he was going to push that girl into the fan, but it's not. But the girl had a knife and she stabs him, but then it's played off screen. Well, we see the girl's legs and the monster a little bit from above though, but we don't see it fully. But we see the girl is like she's getting strangled, and you see the guy has his claws and it starts swiping at her. So it's like sort of a little bit killed off screen a little bit because we see the girl's legs and she's struggling, but you see the guy doing this, and so it's not a gory movie at all. It's not all blood and guts for what that I remember back then. Well, because back then I thought there was those mechanical things you see at the Funhouse come to life. I thought that was the case, but no, it's actually this one person, and the other guy too. And so the other guy, Kevin Conway, named Barker, he holds the remaining two at gunpoint, and him and Buzz, Cooper Huckabee, they have a fight, a scuffle, and Barker gets impaled by a sword, and thinks he's dead, but not. He pulls Buzz in, he gets stabbed a little bit down here, but then the guy actually ends up shooting him. And then the monster comes in, and he tells Elizabeth Berridge to run. He tells her to run. She hears a gunshot, and the door's open, and then we see our guy just like hanging like on one of those mechanical things. His body is being held up by one of those mechanical things. So I thought it was like well, consider we really I sort of liked him, but so it was kind of a little bit of a lame thing because like we don't see him fight the monster. He just basically gets killed off screen. His body is getting brought into afterwards. I thought that was like sort of a little bit of a lame death there. And and before that, what I was getting to the brother, which I don't think we didn't need this because he's just there walking around most of the time in the carnival by himself, and the monster kind of spooked him a little bit, and one of the guys takes care of him until his parents come in, picks him up, and that's basically about it. Takes him up but I don't think we didn't need that little brother hanging around because it's not doing anything with the brother. He's not gonna being chased by the monster again. And that's when the character Amy sees him outside, but she's crying out for help for them, but they can't hear because she's in front of this fan, so it's too loud for them to hear. But besides that, it's okay. This whole thing was with his little brother. He could have cut out, so. But that's all I wanted to mention about that. But and then she gets chased by but she gets chased by the monster into this room, and hits him a couple times with a crowbar, and he takes a crowbar, but actually he gets electrocuted, which actually not. This guy actually just kills himself basically. The girl didn't do anything. Like the guy takes a crowbar from her, and actually just gets electrocuted and stuff from a fuse box. And then he gets like hung by his shirt. He's dragging, and he gets getting stuck in between these two gears, and that's about it. So the girl's in shock and all that, and she makes it outside, and sees that thing on the entrance laughing, and then she's all terrified, and she just walks out in the daylight out of the carnival, and that's about it. So I thought the death of the monster I thought was a bit lame too. Like, he just basically gets himself killed, basically. So the girl basically didn't do anything to the guy. The guy just ended up doing it himself. So like the character of Buzz, like his death was a little bit lame, and the souls of the monster I thought was like a little bit of a letdown. But regardless of those nitpicks, I still like the Funhouse because it's a slow burn movie, building up to for the characters being terrorized. But I like the atmosphere look of the Funhouse, that very dark and creepy because with mostly like the mechanical things or figurines or clowns or skeletons. So it does have a very eerie, creepy atmosphere to it. I was still given it's directed by Tobe Hooper, as we expect a sort of thing. The score by who did the score for this? John Beale. I thought it was fine as well. And let's say if it was the 96, it's on for 96 minutes, but if you cut out the stuff with the brother, which you didn't need, I thought it would have been a shorter film. But like I said, it's a slow burn movie, slowly building up mainly towards the third act with the four kids. But I still like the Funhouse. I thought it was on an dark atmosphere look to it. I liked. Like I said, the makeup effects of the monster by Rick Baker I thought was well done. And I said Tobe Hooper, may rest in peace though. But it's not one of my favorite ones though. But I still like the film. It's not a bad movie at all. If you're watching like a creepy atmospheric look to the film, it's definitely worth a watch. Especially if you're a fan, if you're creeped out by fun houses like these, it's definitely your kind of movie if you want to watch it, or not if you don't like fun houses. I remember going to a fun house like years ago, and I wasn't scared by it. Well, it wasn't a type of fun house like this. It was not by miles, but those last I recall was like one had those things, one of those spinny things. And you had to walk through it. But yeah, that was like a long time ago, and that was like when I was a little kid, and that was basically the last time I've been to a fun house. I haven't been to one in years since then. There it goes again. It won't stay up. But yeah, the Funhouse. It's definitely worth a look. Definitely worth a look if anyone's a fan of Tobe Hooper who enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I also have like ones it's always been his best film. But I always put above. It's always been his classic masterpiece to way. Like I love the sequel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, The Mangler, Mosquito. Wait, did he? Yeah, I think he directed Mosquito. Did he? I don't think he did. Or I must be thinking of something else because I remember because Mosquito because Gunnar Hansen was in it. No, I don't think he directed Mosquito. No. I was thinking because Gunnar Hansen was in it. So no, I don't think he didn't direct Mosquito. I know he directed Eaten Alive. I know that, and the Toolbox Murders. That was like a remake that I overall liked. The Toolbox Murders. Yeah, but Tobe Hooper, may rest in peace. Just I like the Funhouse. Creamy atmospheric look of the carnival, and just basically trapped with. It's definitely worth the watch. If anyone not seen the Funhouse, I recommend you check out the Funhouse. And anyone who's a fan of Tobe Hooper, I forgot to mention Life Force as well, and yeah, Life Force. He also directed that film too. But that's my thoughts on the Funhouse. I liked it. Didn't love it though, but I thought it was like on a dark atmosphere watch look to it. I thought it was worth a watch. So that's my review, my thoughts on the Funhouse. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next review for Halloween month. Later.